I didn't want for you and I didn't want for Keegan, because then it sets up this competition with the other kids, and it sets up the competition with the parents, and then you have this burden that you're too young to deal with. And so I chose not to send you to preschool early, even though you were tested at age 4 and came out at a 6-month developmental level, and I was encouraged to put both you and Keegan in a gifted and talented program, and there was no way I was going to do that to you. No way in the world. It would have been devastating for Keegan, but there's no way I was going to put you guys under that kind of pressure. You were little children.
Yes, but see, that idea of the pressure that you're going to deal with is what people want their children to go through, so that by the time they graduate school, they're going to go to Yale and Harvard and, the top schools of the moment. That's what they're doing. They're starting it at preschool level.
Yeah.
Hence why they're talking about milestones and where my child is in relation to the other toddlers that are running around at the birthday party. That's why they're doing it.
Right. When your 2-year-old can do developmental things with her body that a 7-year-old cannot do, all of a sudden she's gifted and talented and she needs to be in this special program.
I mean,
just let her be 2.
I don't know. Does a society get better if you don't allow the yardstick, so to speak, if you don't allow that to change? You see, does a society grow?
But
if you
that's
just
what
kept
they're
everybody
trying
the
to
same
force.
all the time, society doesn't progress.
And that's what they're trying to do by trying to force kindergartners to do stuff that they aren't developmentally ready for. They're trying to push that yardstick. The problem is...
But I mean, what makes somebody developmentally ready?
Brain
You're saying
function?
that it's only biology?
Some of it is biological.
Yeah, but that's just it. Don't we push that envelope?
I guess.
Don't we force the issue in lots of other ways? I mean, think of just in sports.
Yeah.
Most people didn't really. You had your pee-wee leagues a little bit, right? But it wasn't super serious. But you had them, and then you got to junior high school, and maybe you had some sports there, and then you had high school where you got a lot more serious about sports, right? And if you were really good, then you went on to university to play that sport or those sports. Now they're starting at such a young age where they're pushing. I mean, kids have whole professional careers before they ever get to high school.
Yeah. My cousin was like that. He was one of those Little League kids who traveled all over the country playing Little League, and by the time he was 21, 22, he was so burnt out.
I know, but I'm
because he'd
saying,
been pushed
but
for so long.
isn't that what we do?
Yeah.
Isn't that why we keep pushing the edge, and the edge keeps getting moved in a direction?
Yeah.
So if you're saying, if the expectation is you can do this thing at 6, and we over the next 20 years can move that to 5, you know what I mean? And then we can move it to 4.5. Yeah, you can get to the point where you have children that can read at 3.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know how that makes things better, but...
I'm taking this course right now about children who struggle with reading and writing. And I have had, I can't even tell you how many education classes, and I've taken classes on teaching kids to read, and I've done it. Like, I've done it for years. And I did not know a single bit of the stuff I'm learning in this course. Nothing. I knew none of it. In all these education classes, in all these teaching kids to read classes and workshops, and I learned none of this stuff.
But what is the class focused on?
how to identify dyslexia and how to help a child who is struggling with letter recognition and writing and reading.
Why would you know that? That sounds like very specialized.
Well, because as a teacher, an elementary teacher or preschool teacher who is now expected, we are expected as preschool teachers to teach our 4 and 5-year-olds to read.
But see, here's
they should
the issue.
know the fact that these kids are their brains do not even process letters and words in the same way until, like, in a reading way, until they're like almost 8, 9, 10 years old. Sometimes they are still struggling, like the average child, not a child with dyslexia, but an average child is still not at an adult, like, they can't look at the word and process each letter fast enough that they think they're reading a whole word at a time. Not until they're in their 20s even. But even as adults who've been reading, let's see, if I started reading at 3 as they claim, and I'm 45, I've been reading for 42 years, and my brain still doesn't read an entire word. Our brains don't read words. We read individual letters.
Is that necessary for the gen ed teacher? And I think that's what
I
the
think
problem
it
is,
is.
because it wasn't necessary for the gen ed teacher years ago.
Right.
The gen ed teacher would take that student and pass them off to someone who specialized in the language acquisition,
Right,
who
because-
specialized
yeah.
in dyslexia. They would specialize in
The reading
speech
coach.
problems, reading
Yeah.
problems, blah 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 blah, and then the gen ed teacher would continue on teaching,
Everything
so that
else.
everybody,
Yeah.
teaching to the middle, while that child needs to get that special attention and that one-on-one attention, and now that person doing the one-on-one attention is gone, and now that child is stuck in that gen ed classroom.
Yep.
And now you have to be an expert on everything that is language acquisition. It's like, no, that doesn't even make sense. Or everything that is reading. It's like, you could never do that. You could identify it and look at it and go, I think this child needs further help.
Yeah.
But I can't provide that help.
Yeah. Well, and I just remember when I was in elementary school, in one of the schools, I've moved around a lot, but in one of the schools, every term, every semester, they would pull the kids out in groups, and then we would go to this special room, and they would have us read the thing, and they would mark off the stuff, and then we'd go back. And for those of the kids who were, I didn't know this at the time, the kids who struggled with reading, they would be pulled out once or twice a week for like 30 or 40 minutes, and then they would go to that room and they would be with that lady. Well, I thought, because she had so many cool books in her room, I thought those were the kids who like did extra well, so they got to go and hang out and read all those cool books. I didn't know those were the kids that were struggling, that needed the special help. So one day I was reading, like, I think I was fourth or fifth grade, fourth grade, I guess. I was reading Great Expectations for silent reading time. And my teacher asked, what are you reading? And I told her, Great Expectations. And she said, what is it about? So I told her what it was about. And she said, why are you reading these grown-up books? And I said, well, I want to go to that special room and read all the books, so I'm trying to become a better reader. At this point, I was reading second level college level. And she's like, honey, that's not what that room is for. So here I was pushing myself because I was competing with those other kids wanting to be better readers so I could go to that special room. But we don't have that option anymore. They don't have a special room for kids that need help.
They also, they're dumping,
So
probably due to cutbacks.
Right.
They're dumping, or they have been, dumping those kids that need extra help onto the shoulders of the gen ed teacher.
which is why the gen ed teachers should know some of this stuff.
No, they should not be dumped on the gen ed teacher.
I agree.
Because
But-
your middle of your classroom gets lowered, and that's why they try to find creative ways to not get them in the testing and all of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to bring their scores down and blah 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 blah. It's like, no, if I need special help, there should be a staff to help me.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that I have to get diagnosed and then this and
get
then
an
get
IEP
the drugs
and then blah, blah, blah.
I do all this stuff to get the same help that 20 of my friends in the same fucking class we all need.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Maybe we need a different class. And I have been preaching that from way back because it was never right to dump those kids into gen ed. The general ed teacher being responsible for a classroom of 30 to 40, half to 60% of them have different IEPs, and now you're gonna, how do you manage that?
Right.
And you're just one teacher teaching one subject, or in the case of elementary, one teacher teaching a class of subjects.
Now, my first classroom in a public school, I was a parapro, and in the classroom there were 53 kids. Of those 53 kids, I think 21 of them did not have an IEP. So our job as the parapros, because we had 2 teachers and 2 parapros, our job as the parapro was then to take a small group of 10 or 12 kids and focus on that one subject. So each subject had an adult in it as it was, assigned, and then they would rotate to the next and I'd get a new group of kids. But that's the only way a gen ed class could function.
Yeah, you need lots of adults in the room to help, to assist, to meet the requirements of those plans for each one of those students. You have to have it. Even if they should, I don't think that they shouldn't be integrated. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is you can't have one teacher managing all of that.
No, it's overwhelming.
But it's, just having 5 kids with different IEPs could be overwhelming. And they're always trying to tell teachers that they need to create your plan and then come up with all the accommodations. Well, how would I even do that?
Differentiation nonsense.
Yeah, it's like that's not even you're trying to dump so much stuff onto one person that they're not going to be very effective at meeting the needs of those students, of those children. They're just not going to be any good at it. They're just going to be doing the paperwork, but they're not going to be good at actually the implementation.
No, and like for my kids now, I've been away since October, the beginning of October 1st, literally. And I'm supposed to, when I submit my lesson plans, I'm supposed to have differentiation for all these different kids, except for I don't know what their diagnostics say because I wasn't there to finish the diagnostics. I missed an entire set of diagnostics. So I can't even write the differentiations because I don't know. I've been away for 3 months.
But I don't think anybody would have the expectation that you did know.
Yeah.
How could they?
I don't know.
You haven't been there.
There's an expectation.
That doesn't even make sense. Well, that's got to be on how you manage it because I was not here, people.
Yep.
So how would I know? Did you give me the information?
Nope.
No. Was I supposed to be working at home? No. So I'm not supposed to have that information yet. You're gonna get back there on day 1, and they should dump a bunch of shit on you.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting.
That's kind of what should happen because you've got to now play catch up.
Yep. 3 months of catch up.
To the abilities of your students that should have changed by now.
Yeah. Well, and I have one kid who came like the week that I was told I had to go home. He came the next day. So I really don't even know the child at all except for the one day I was in the classroom after that, and he was a holy terror. I don't know how he behaves now. I mean, we don't know each other at all. So.
All right. You got anything else?
No.
Can we run away?
Sure.
Run away from
I'm going to write some more today.
Eric, you got anything else for the people?
No, I blacked out.
You blacked out?
That's how I felt in the beginning when you were talking about movies and stuff.
See? If you would watch them, you wouldn't feel that way. You'd have an opinion.
Yep.
But don't you have an opinion on what we did?
I don't.
But you had an opinion about my frustration. You had an opinion about my frustration level with you reading. Because I heard you mumble over here.
I know, you're going back in time now?
Oh,
You gotta rewind the tape?
5 minutes ago.
5 minutes? You've been talking for 30!
No.
Man,
It's 12:38.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
started at 11:22.
Did we?
Yes.
Nobody said the time, so I didn't know.
I didn't even check.
I checked because I wanted to see if it was a 5. It wasn't. That's why I didn't say anything.
Alright.
That's it? That's all you got for today? I think that's all I got for today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish The Witcher.
Definitely we're gonna be trying,
You,
Me.
not me.
we're going to be trying to get on the YouTubes all of the back stuff every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's my goal. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a new show, a new piece of a show. Upload it.
Alright.
So stay tuned.
Don't stay tuned, go to fucking YouTube. Ring the bell and all that bullshit. You know, do that thing.
Like, subscribe.
You know,
There was one YouTuber.
and comment, because we want to hear what y'all think.
One YouTuber doesn't have an outro, so he's just
I
like,
have an outro.
do all the things that YouTubers say you to
I
do.
know. Y'all know what
You know what
it
to
is.
do. You watch this. Just go do it.
If you found us on the YouTubes and you're watching on the YouTubes, guess what? You know how to do the YouTubes. Ring the bell and blah blah blah. If you want to follow the Traveling Farrs, you can find us on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, Spotify, and the Google Podcasts at The Traveling Farrs. If you like Instagram and Twitters, Traveling Farrs. If you like the email, travelingfars@gmail.com. And the blog space, thetravelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry. The paper I forget every damn day. If somebody asks me any of this information, I need this to tell them.
So, Aaron,
I now put it on my desk because, you know, I don't know.
are you going to start blogging this year?
Vlogging?
Blog? With
Blog?
The writing of the things.
Writing?
No, that's your job.
No, I think I'll be, if I do anything, I will leave this like this,
It'll be
and then I'll just do vlogging.
Okay.
Vlogging's more fun.
Why would I do vlogging? Vlogging is boring. It's
Yeah,
just
it is.
you. It's just
you
you
sitting-
typing.
Just you sitting there.
Angrily typing away.
My opinion.
Yeah, no.
Instead of.
I can just opine right here.
That's what it's called, man. You
I
share
can-
your opinion.
Do it right here. I can do it for the people. I can do it live.
Oh, God dang it! I knew I was coming.
Say goodbye to the people.
Bye.
Peace.
Have a good weekend. Or whatever day of the week you're watching us.
I have to pee. So bad.
Whatever day of the week you're watching this. Are you still sitting here?
Yeah.
Why are you still sitting here?
Why not? You guys took off running, so I assumed the bathrooms were occupied.